Speaker. And while you're coming down, is Sandra De Leon here?
Oh.
You'll be up next. Miss Adrian, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Penny Adrian, and my neighbor Ahmad Ranson is here with me to provide moral support because I'm extremely nervous. And the reason I'm so nervous is because I really want you to care about what I'm going to propose today, and I'd love it if you could mention it to the downtown cluster of churches. And in regard to agenda item 98 today, I think it's extremely important that we all remember that when it comes to public health and safety, our homeless neighbors are also members of the public. And their health and safety is at greatest risk, largely because of us, because we don't consider them our neighbors and members of the public. And they're literally dying out there. They are dying slowly in front of our eyes. We step over people who are dying. So anyway, the new Salvation Army shelter sounds wonderful, but it costs $12 million to build, will cost $5.2 million a year to operate, and will provide beds for only 212 people who can stay there for only 90 days. I'm glad it's there. It's better than nothing. But if you come down to Trinity Center on Monday or Tuesday mornings, and I recommend that you do, your homeless sisters will tell you that it is cruel to expect someone who is traumatized by domestic violence, who's recovering from a mental breakdown, or who is trying to heal from the trauma of incarceration, to hit the ground running, jump through hoops of bureaucracy, and land permanent housing within 90 days. It's ridiculous in many cases to expect that. Your sisters at the Salvation Army live in terror of finding an exit date on their beds, which means their time at the shelter is up and they will be forced to return to the streets. 90 days is not enough time for our most vulnerable sisters to find housing. That's why I'm trying to persuade the downtown cluster of churches to let our homeless sisters sleep in their sanctuaries at night. 21% of homeless women report having been raped in the past 12 months alone, and half of those women have been raped at least twice. It is clearly immoral for large, beautiful houses of God to sit empty every night while homeless women sleep on the street or submit to unwanted sex for protection. Many churches claim they can't let our homeless sisters sleep in the sanctuaries because of the cost of additional staff and liability insurance. It's like Jesus said, love thy neighbor as long as you're insured. But if nonprofits were set up to operate within the churches and the city could commit to helping fund these nonprofits, the churches could shelter hundreds of women every single night, year-round, for only about $500,000 a year until those women are stable enough to access services or lucky enough to get into permanent housing.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Kitchen. Ms. Adrian?
I just want to thank you, and I'm sure my colleagues agree. I know it's hard to, and I realize you were nervous, but you did a great job.
Thank you.
So I want to say thank you very much. I know the mayor has a resolution that's coming up later this evening with a whole range of ideas. I think he's got language in his resolution that would encompass the idea that you gave us.
Good. Thank you.
So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, those were all the speakers that we had signed up on 184 and 185. We're now going to consider each one of those in turn. We're going to begin with item number 184. It's my motion. I move passage of 184. What I've handed out is in version 3 in the upper right-hand corner. That's what was posted a day or two ago. I've lost track of days at this point. But it was what was posted. There are 3 amendments that I've offered. One that's called just Adler Amendment, one that's Adler Amendment 2, and one that's Adler Amendment 3. The first one is the amendment that speaks to the language this morning of the person who spoke at Citizen Communication about it amends the list at the end to also ask staff to take a look at the broader, I'm sorry.
I was just going to